Hey guys, in today's lesson video, I'm going to talk about how to create forward shaft lean, because every single golfer wants to create that forward shaft lean, but every single golfer tends to get into that early release scoop motion. So in today's lesson video, I'm going to talk about the type of release that I like, which is a supinated release. But so many times when I talk about getting my logo of my golf glove, if I had one, to rotate and face more towards the ground, a lot of golfers think that we're going to hook the golf ball. But what tends to happen is that once we get a golf ball here, if you focus on that supination release, which we have to do if you want to get into that forward shaft lean position, but if you try to get into that supinated release and if we hook the golf ball off to the left, the first thing you have to check is if post impact, if the club head is remaining on the outside part of my hands. Because once the golf club moves behind my hands in this position right here, then we're gonna have a severe hook shot off to the left. That's not what we want to do. So the first miss is the club head tends to sneak back behind my hands, and whenever the golf club head moves back behind my hands from the face on golf swing, that's where the early release scoop motion comes from. But what happens is that if I get the golf club to be on from the down the line view in front of my hands, then from this position, if I rewind towards my impact, that's where the forward shaft lead comes from. So what we have to realize is that the club head must remain on the outside part of my hands while I release and supinate and make sure that the logo of my golf glove faces more towards the ground. Then we're not going to hit the golf ball and hook the golf ball off to the left. The second thing we have to realize is that when we try to create that supinated release and get the golf club head to slightly turn over in this position right here, we're doing it with lead arm, forearm rotation. So my lead forearm is going to, alone, it's going to rotate and supinate this golf club into a proper release. But what most amateur golfers try to do is, once they get their right hand onto the golf club, what tends to happen is that from the side view, from the down the line, instead of my left forearm just rotating and supinating, what tends to happen is that they try to do it with their dominant side and their whole right side comes on top. And that's not the correct motion either. So we're trying to get from the top of our backswing, we're trying to get my lead forearm to supinate and rotate without my whole right side taking over. So the first step is make sure that the club head stays on the outside part of my hands. And the second step is to make sure that my whole right side does not take over. Now from this position, what we have to realize is that if you want to get into that supinated release, you have to have a good feel and know what you have to do with your hands and your wrists. So let's try to retrain our hands with this one really good drill. The drill we're going to do just requires a simple phone. Everyone has a smartphone these days. So with your phone, what we're going to do is we're going to grab it in our lead hand, my left hand. Then from this position, we're going to make sure that you can see this gap right here. We're going to make sure that we kind of bow our wrist and make sure that the phone touches the inside part of my wrist and slightly my inside part of my forearm in this position right here. We're going to keep this pressure point forever, because if we let go of this pressure point, then that's where the early release scoop comes from this motion right here. So we're going to keep this pressure point and we're going to rotate my lead forearm and my lead hand in this position right here. That's what the correct type of release should feel like. And if you actually try to get into this type of release that I'm going to talk about today, after I talk about the right hand release as well, then you're going to realize that, oh, this supination release does not actually feel like I'm going to hook the golf ball. So that's going to really help you out with the miss to the left as well. If you're missing the golf shot, if you're trying to supinate the golf club and try to get into more of my type of release, but if you're hooking the golf ball off to the left, this video will really help with that forward shaft lean position and also hitting the golf ball straight and not hooking it to the left. So from this position, now we're going to add my right palm right on top of my phone as well. So from this position, if I do that same motion, it's going to feel like this. It's going to feel like the back of my backhand is kind of facing more towards my face, but for those early release scoop motion golfers, their right palm is going to face their face in this position right here. So make sure that the back of my right hand is kind of pointing towards my face, kind of next to my left ear in this position right here. So what it's going to feel like with my right hand, as soon as you try this type of release out with the phone, it's going to feel like if we have a small tabletop right here, it's going to feel like we're wiping the tabletop off with our right palm in this position right here. It's going to feel like this rotation piece right here. We're just going to rotate into this position right here. And if we add that rotation into our follow through position, it's going to feel like the back of my right hand is facing more towards my face and my palm shouldn't be facing towards my face. So from the down the line view, it's going to look something like this. The back of my right hand is going to face more towards my face, and that's what's going to allow me to get into a really good strong position with the face, and that's what's going to help me get into that forward shaft lean position, and that's what's gonna help me get into that really good finish position as well. So now if you do that motion with the golf club with my left hand, it's gonna get into that really good release motion right here. Then if I add my right hand, it's gonna feel like the back of my right hand still remains, the hinge still remains, and the back of my right hand is pointing towards my face, towards my left ear in this position right here, and my right palm is not facing towards my face. That's where the early release comes from. So from this position, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna get into that position where the back of my right hand faces towards my face, and that's what we're only gonna focus on, and we're gonna get into that really good top of the backswing and focus on that good position alone. And I guarantee you, if you rewind the video, we're gonna get into a really good forward shaft lean position. So just focus on the release with the back of your right hand facing more towards your face, in this position right here. And I guarantee you, we're gonna get into a very good release position, and we're going to have that forward shaft lean without trying to force our handle and shove our handle forward. So if you guys like the lesson video, please like and subscribe to help my channel grow. And for in-person or online lessons, I'll leave all the information in the description below. Thanks guys.